Good morning, everybody, and Happy New Year. Betting for Breakfast back to start things off in 2022. Powered by the Sharp app and coming off an incredible first night of college football playoffs. We're going to talk about that. We'll have Lexi on at the end, and we're going to get into all 5 games. Today's the last real full slate of college football, so we're going to get some bets in, hopefully get some winners, start 2022 the way we want. I'm Mark Drumheller. I'm here with Dave Gleckner. Dave, you made it. We made it to the new year, my man. We had to pick some winners. We got Georgia right. We closed the show the way we wanted to yesterday, and time to start things off in the right way in 2022.
Yeah. It was a good day of college football yesterday. It was fun to watch. You wish the games are a little more competitive, just from a optics standpoint. But that's just the nature of the college football semifinals.
That's how it's been,
I guess
man.
It raises the point. But do we need more teams? And I'm not so sure. If this is what we're going to get competition-wise when you put 2 versus 3 and 1 versus 4, what happens when you add 5 and 6 and 7 and 8?
It depends what the goal of expanding is, and I think that's the key is. So if we expand to more teams, right? Do we get to see Kenny Pickett? Do we get to see Kenneth Walker? If they're in a playoff game instead of just a regular bowl game, do we get those stars in those games? And I think everybody would love to see Pitt versus Michigan with their top 2 players and that sort of thing. So I think that is more of the goal of expanding than to actually find a different winner, because I think to expect a team like an Old Miss or a Pitt or somebody that can kind of come out of nowhere and win the national title, that's not going to happen, right? Like, this is Alabama, Georgia. This is we ended up right where we thought we were. We took a crazy path through the season, but we ended up right where we thought we would be.
Yeah, and that's not saying the 2 teams that played yesterday weren't deserving. To me, they were absolutely deserving of the 2 other seeds. I just, I go back and forth. I love expansion just because I love seeing more games. It's a little selfishness in the whole thing, right? I like when the NFL went to 7 teams. But in the end, if that's the goal, if people aren't going to opt out, I'd like it, because today we're going to talk about, 5 of these games today. Everybody's best player is out. Yeah. And in some cases, 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you get with the bowl slate now, and that makes it difficult. It makes it difficult for us as handicappers, right? When we're trying to pick these winners, and you look at how a team's going to perform without some of their best players, it makes it tough. It makes it tough on both sides. But I think that is what they're thinking of when they talk about expanding, these playoffs, is how do they get more eyes, on these games? How do they make them more exciting for the players, for the fans? And it's always about money, man. It is always about money. But I think the one thing that we learned yesterday, and I think that, everybody, it's the massive eye roll across the country, but the SEC is king. And those teams were deserving to get there. I think they might have been the, top, 3rd best, 4th best team in the country. But physically, Alabama, Georgia, just better athletes, bigger, they get the best players. So, if you look at it, I saw something out there where it's like you can link the recruiting to the performance of the teams. And, when the best teams get the best players, this is what you end up with. But it's going to be a hell of a game, I think, in the rematch with Georgia and Alabama.
And it's funny you say that. And they do have the best players, don't get me wrong. But then you see Stetson Bennett running out there looking like he's from, what's that? Like a little elf from the movie series with all those guys running around, The Hobbit. But he's definitely not the best. He went to a junior college and then came back. But he's the best for them right now, and I give them a lot of credit. And the difference with Alabama, Cincy, and they were worried, and I like I said, that was what I thought would happen. Alabama would run it all day. That's all they need to do. Just keep them at an arm's length. Don't even get tricky. Don't even try and turn the ball over. Don't even give them chances. And I was just surprised how physically dominant they were against Cincinnati's offense, because sometimes you have offensive can plan for that, right? They can chip block, they can max protect, they can do a few things, quick outs. Ritter never threw the ball downfield. Didn't even try once. Didn't even attack. He looked like a deer in headlights the whole time. I think he was affected by the speed more than anything. As soon as they batted down his first 2-3 balls, the guy was just in another world. A fog was in his head, and I think he just didn't have an answer, and he didn't know what to do. And from there, you can't fix that, right? You can't fix size and speed.
Well,
You're right.
that was one of the
Alabama
points we talked about is, both teams, Michigan and Cincinnati were going to be in a little bit of trouble if Georgia, Alabama got off to those early leads. And I think once you saw Bama, they got the blocked pass when, it should have been a touchdown early against, for Cincinnati and held Cincinnati to the field goal. I think that's when you kind of knew they were going to be able to run on them whenever they wanted, so they were going to be able to score points, but was Cincinnati going to be able to come from behind and hang if they needed to? And I think, we saw that answer, right? Once Alabama, smelled blood in the water, they were able to kind of tee off on that Cincinnati offense.
Yeah, and like I said, they had to convert in the red zone. Now I thought they'd have more opportunities. They only had one, but they're 0 for 1. You can already see where that momentum went when you couldn't convert in the red zone.
Swing pass. Oh, no. That screen pass was like the worst pass.
Worst.
It was like minus 20.
And I just kind of, I know they got to try and do some things like that. I just never understand when teams think that, Alabama fast as can be, big as can be, that a screen would work from the 10-yard line.
Right. They think they're going to over pursue, but they have second level players.
That's what I mean.
In there. Yeah. It's like Tecmo Bowl. Like, remember when you pick the play in Tecmo Bowl and like all 11 people run to the exact spot? It's exactly what we saw in that play. But, awesome. Listen, awesome set of games. We got winners, and that's what counts, right? We all cashed in on Georgia. I was a little late to the party, but luckily it didn't matter. I went small on the play. I was kind of back and forth all week, but, we ended up on the right side. So love to see that. John checking in. Thanks for the picks yesterday. Absolutely, brothers. Hey, when we win, it's a good day. So we closed out 2021 just like we wanted to. Now we're going to open up 2022 with some more winners. Got some more people checking in. Our guy, Adam. Appreciate it, brother. More games, more money. That's right. That's what it's all about. Of course, Arroyo, Adam, everybody checking in. It's going to be a great new year. Let's get some winners today. Let's get into the slate, Dave. We got 5 games. I want to hit them all. I didn't bet them all, but we're going to hit them all. We're going to talk about them. Let's start with, we'll just go right in order. Arkansas, Penn State. This one opened up. Penn State -4. You've seen about 7 points of line movement. Now Arkansas, the Razorbacks, laying 3 points. A lot has to do with the opt-outs, right? No Dotson, no Brisker at safety, no linebackers for Penn State. How do you see this one going for the Nittany Lions today? Do you think this huge line shift to the Razorbacks is warranted?
Yeah, I'm not going to have a lot of fans, but I like Arkansas a lot in this game. Styles make matchups. We talk about it. Arkansas is a prolific rushing attack. They need 2 guys to get 2 yards today to have 4 rushers over 500 this year. First time in school history. They do things and they're tough, right? Ever since head coach Sam Pittman came in, I loved them during the COVID era. They're 14-7-1 to the spread. They're a moneymaker right now. And last year they got their bowl game canceled because of COVID. They're amped up. They're ready to play. It's like, when we look at these bowl seasons, we look at those teams that, want to play, right? And I really feel like Arkansas wants to play. Does Penn State? I don't know. I mean, they lost their defensive coordinator Brett Pry out to Virginia Tech. In comes Manny Diaz. He's going to be sitting from the top looking what's going on. But like you said, no Brandon Smith, no Ellis Brooks, the 2 linebackers, and Jaquan Brisker. That's 31% of their tackles. They were already a bad rushing team as soon as their defensive lineman, what was his name? PJ Mustafa went down. They let up 350 rushing to Illinois, and then everybody was running through them after that. And now they face a prolific physical rushing team from the SEC. No Dotson, and we know he had like 138 targets. Clifford it's a tough game. I think what Arkansas is going to do, and we already know Penn State's one of the worst rushing teams in the entire nation. Bottom 5 in rush success rate in the whole nation. I think they're just going to sit there, play a simple front 7, blanket the 4, keep everything in front of them. Just Penn State, you try and beat us, dink and dunk, dink and dunk, dink and dunk. And they're going to bleed this game out. And I think Arkansas wins an ugly game, something in the 24-13 range.
Yeah. Suey or whatever they say out there, man. Arkansas, I'm on the Razorbacks. Bet them early. Got it -2. Sharp members got that number. Listen, I love them here. You talked about it. Second best rushing team in the SEC, the Arkansas Razorbacks. We saw Penn State at full strength take on an Auburn team, and was a tough game for them, right? They had to take on the refs a little bit, but I thought that they did struggle with the physicality of Auburn in that game. Now they get, another physical team in Arkansas. First bowl game in 5 years. You talked about that. There's motivation here with Arkansas. They want to win. They're going to be amped up for this game. But on the field, those losses on defense are going to be big. I don't see how they can slow down the Arkansas rushing attack. And Dotson is huge because they can't run the ball. So he mitigates their inability to run, like because they throw him all those short passes. They almost use him as their running game as well with those bubble screens, short passes, and they use him in that nature. So them not having him is like not having the entire offense. Like he's the whole offense. So I like Arkansas here. I laid the short number. I think that they are definitely the play. Probably one of my favorite plays of the entire day. I like Penn State. I just think it's going to be a rough day for them.
I do too, and that's okay sometimes when you lose that volume of players. And Arkansas lost their top wideout, right? Arkansas, but that doesn't really affect them in this game when they can just run all day. So they lost key pieces that are actually Arkansas strengths, the linebackers, and that's tough.
Yeah. But all right, so let's move it on. Arkansas, we're both in agreement. Lock it up, cha-ching. Let's go to Notre Dame. Very interesting team taking on Oklahoma State. Can Gundy get the guys ready in the Fiesta Bowl, Glendale, Arizona? This one opened up Notre Dame -2.5. We've seen some line movement towards the Cowboys. You can get this at a pick 'em, a coin flip game, they're saying at this point. Notre Dame, again, losing some players. Williams out, the running back. Hamilton, the safety. Those guys not playing in today's game. Oklahoma State, very strong defense. This is one that I think I'm going to end up betting. I haven't fired it yet, but I like the Irish in this one. I think they're the motivated team. I think they get Marcus Freeman, everything they went through with Brian Kelly. I think they want to go out and put on a good showing. Are they going to be big enough and strong enough to get it done against the Oklahoma State Cowboys? I think they are.
Yeah, this one's tough. I was kind of leaning your way for a while, and after some long deliberation, I'm leaning the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Mike Gundy.
Oh, there you go.
I talked about before bowl season opened up. There's some key stats that you try to look at and consistency. And one of them's head coach records in bowl games. And Mike Gundy's one of the better ones. He's 10-5. Now, a lot of times conference title losses equal hangovers in these games. But with Gundy at the helm, I'm not sure he's going to let them. And one of the key pieces that when they lost that game to Baylor, a lot of it was because Jalen Warren, the star running back, went down. And they just said they could do nothing. That running back was terrible. I forget his name, but he couldn't even make the pylon at the end of the game to tie it. I think there's a lot of motivation. Jalen's coming back. He could opt out. He's a senior, but he's like, no, I'm going to play. And that gives him a little heart, little energy. I think the other key is Oklahoma State's #1 in the nation in havoc defense. They're in the backfield making plays all day. That's not good for Jack Cohn, a guy that now doesn't have Williams, like you said. He's got Michael Meyer, nice target, but this guy's known to throw up some 50-50 balls that kind of turn into 30-70s. And I think I like Oklahoma State in this matchup. You got a rookie head coach. This guy was defensive coordinator, and I love him. He's going to have time. But just a year ago, he's defensive coordinator for Cincinnati against Georgia, and now he's taking the reign. That's two big leaps. I just think it's a lot in a short period, and I think you got a coach that knows how to coach bowl games. I'm leaning Gundy and the Cowboys.
Very interesting. You know what? The market's agreeing with you because the line is going over. I'm going to wait and see. That's the only thing that's making me nervous, and I think it's the status of Jalen Warren. Right? You talked about it. He's going to be back, but how effective is he going to be with that ankle? Like how healthy is he going to be in this matchup for it to come down to the wire? So I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the Irish. I'm on the fence. We're going to see, but I think I'm going to punch this one in. I definitely probably going to play this game, but I'm leaning Irish at this point. But it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gundy typically gets it done in the bowl games. Let's see if he can handle the hangover. Again, a bad loss to Baylor. They were on the cusp of being Cincinnati. They could have been the Bearcats. They had to watch the Bearcats get blown out last night. Do they go into this game thinking about what could have been instead of an Irish team that is right in front of them? We will find out. Next game on the docket. Let's just run right through it. Kentucky, Iowa, nothing but excitement lined up with these two powerhouse teams.
We talked about Iowa a little bit yesterday, right? And
we did.
It took a while for the demise to finally occur. And I'm not going to get into a whole lot of analysis here. Kentucky.
Yeah, I like Kentucky. I would not be surprised here if it went the other way. Like this is the one game that I'm not betting. Like I truly think that this is a coin flip. I think Wendell Robinson can make some explosive plays if they need them, if Kentucky needs them. But the Iowa defense against this type of team level of competition has shown very well. I don't think they're 100% out of this game. I just think it's going to be kind of a low pace, slow scoring, game like that. So I don't have a real good, strong opinion on this one. Maybe go under. I don't know. It's probably already slammed that number. But this is one where you just kind of regroup and get your bets in for the next game because
that's it.
The Iowa Hawkeyes.
Go ahead. The only thing is Levis, the quarterback for Kentucky, threw 12 picks this year. We know Iowa, they had like 24. Like that's the one area where this can. If Kentucky and Stoops just says, I'm just going to run it all day and I'm just going to sack your quarterback, they're going to win this game with margin. But if they try and get creative and try and show off and try and get tricky, it could get a little – it could be Iowa. You're right. So I just hope they stick to a game plan because there's a path here and it could be easy. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, and Kentucky's offensive line is real good. Like they grade out as one of the best offensive lines. So I think that even though they're probably have the more playmakers on offense. Like I think I still don't think that they go into the game with that mentality. Like I think this is two teams that are going to try and pound each other. Even though Iowa doesn't have Goodson, I think that they're not going to change their DNA. They're not going to change who they are. So I think that's what you're getting. Good luck to both teams. Probably going to lay off this one. That's probably going to be the one matchup that I don't touch, the old Citrus Bowl down in Orlando, Florida. But we did see Iowa opening up, 1-point favorite. Now Kentucky laying the key number of 3.5 in one spot in some spots. So it is going in Kentucky's direction. But let's move on now to the Rose Bowl, Dave. Utah against Ohio State. We talked about motivation, and I think the handicap on this one comes down to how much do you believe the Ohio State Buckeyes are going to be motivated in this matchup coming off a very disappointing season.
Yeah, so that's a great point. But the one thing is there is some familiarity here, and that's Ohio State's playing in its 16th career Rose Bowl. They're 8-7 overall, the second most wins in the Rose Bowl in these matchups, just trails USC. So, while you would think, I don't know how much motivation there is because their season just came to a abrupt, hit a brick wall halt. They're going out to a place they're used to. And I think that having that is going to help a little bit. But I do think we're kind of on the same side in this game. And as much familiarity as you can have, much comfort you can have, and you can tell yourself you're ready to play, Ohio State's missing Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson. Both opted out for the NFL. Both can be first-round draft picks. They accounted for 25 of Stroud's 38 touchdowns. I think that's huge production that you're missing against a team in Utah that I think is uber motivated. They don't get these chances a lot. In New Year's 6 games, they're 2-0. So when they have had these chances, they've shined. And, we've seen them get better as the year has gone on. The switch to Cam Rising at quarterback has turned them into a more physical team, but also one that can run a nice play-action game. Their defense is tremendous. And like we said earlier, they run. And that's the one thing Ohio State has shown that they don't like this year. Michigan did it to them. Oregon did it to them. Teams that are physical against them. It's funny we're saying Oregon was physical, but they were. And those teams gave Ohio State trouble. I think this one's a matchup that really does favor the Utes. I like the Utes with the points in this.
Yeah, I grabbed Utah at 6.5. Sharp members got that number, so you got some good CLV if you hit that at that point. But CLV hasn't always paid off this bowl season, but I'm hoping it does here with Utah. And Dave, it's for the reasons that you talked about. The physicality, when the Buckeyes have to play teams that are going to be physical with them, they have not been up to the challenge. And Utah wants to steamroll you. Like, that's exactly what they want to do. Tavion, the running back, he actually got shut down, rejected by Ohio State. So this is a big game that he's been circling. He cannot wait. I think they're going to feed him. They're going to try and make an example out of this Ohio State Buckeyes defense. I think they're going to run them. And, motivation is key here, Dave. And this is a great point that was brought up in one of the podcasts I was listening to. I think it was the Solid Verbal, but I'm not positive. But I do want to credit them if I can, because they brought up an awesome point about motivation. Because in bowl season, we hear people talk about this team's motivated. Do they want to play? Blah, blah, blah. You see the kickoff and they're running down there and they're pumping their fists and they're jumping around and this team's motivated, right? But motivation, when they're on the field, everybody wants to play. Everybody wants to win, or the players aren't out there taking a nap, right? The motivation factor happens the last 3 weeks. The motivation happens like the last 3 weeks when everyone's going to visit their families and doing the holidays and doing that stuff. Are they up watching film? Are they doing the little things that they want to do to make sure that they perform at their best today, right? It's all the preparation. That's where the motivation comes in. You're going to see these guys flying around on the field. They're going to be hitting people, knocking mouthpieces out. They're going to be excited to play, but did they do the work that they're going to need to win in this game today? And that's really where the motivation comes through. And I'm not sure Ohio State has, man. They got Smith and Bigman. They can, drop receivers in there, and they're not Olave and Wilson, but they're going to be good enough against this Utah secondary. Yeah. But, did they do the little things in the preparation to get ready to play such a physical team in Utah? And I'm not sure that answer is yes. Again, I got it at 6.5. I think it's a great number. Now I think we're at 4.5. Is that right? I saw 4.5 last night, down to 4. So it's going in that direction. I like Utah here, even at 4, to be honest with you. Anything over a field goal, I think is playable. I think that they run it right at them. I think they beat them up physically. I think the secondary is going to be able to do enough to kind of slow down the Ohio State offense. And I think this game means a lot more to Utah than it does to Ohio State.
Yeah, and one of the key trends I saw was Ohio State, they haven't lost 2 in a row since like 2013. They've actually avenged 11 straight losses with wins. But in their last 5, they're 1-4 ATS. That's what matters to us, right? They can come and squeak out this game with the last second field goal, win by 1 or 2. But as long as that number is above that key line, I like Utah, and I'm with you. As long as, I'm locked in at 4.5. That's where I got. Nice. But as long as it hovers above that 4 line, 3.5, I feel good with Utah as well.
Yeah, lock it up. The Utes, get it done against the Buckeyes tonight at the Rose Bowl. And then we wrap things up in style. Right? In style. No better way to end out the slate than Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels, the Lane train. Choo-choo. Taking on Aranda. If anyone could slow down the train, it's Dave Aranda and that Baylor defense. He's going to have something special for Lane, I'm sure, tonight. Is it going to be enough? I'm not convinced. I took Ole Miss early here. I'm laying, I think, a point here with Ole Miss. The number right now, it looks like it is moving in the other direction. Well, it's a little all over the place. You see some -1s now. You have seen some pick'ems in some spots. It opened at Baylor -1. So I'm laying it with Ole Miss. I think Lane gets it done here. Baylor 70th pass defense in the country. Ole Miss does a good job of mixing in the run. They can run, they can pass. They're very balanced. I think a lot of people think Lane Kiffin and like he's air raid Mike Leach. That's not really how they win games. Matt Corral, very motivated in this one, coming back, says that he is going to fight with his team until the very end. I think this game is a big statement game for Lane Kiffin. I think he's taking this game very seriously. He's going to be out to win. I like Ole Miss. I like the Rebels here. I think the defense has played very good the second half of the season. 38% third down conversion rate, that defense on third downs in the second half of the year. Let up a little over 20 points per game. The Ole Miss Rebels, I think, can get it done against a Baylor offense that's pretty much has to run or has to lean on Gary Bohannon, which I'm not too comfortable with. I'm taking Lane Kiffin here against the Baylor Bears.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I haven't hit Baylor well at the end of the season. Early in the season, I had them pegged pretty good. They were an upstart. But I thought we were going to start to see some, return to normalcy. And they just kept winning. They kept winning in, their way. And that was the, like you said, Dave Aranda way. And I just don't know if that can keep going today. I really liked their backup quarterback who played in SC or the Big 12 championship game that Blake Shapen. I thought he was fantastic.
Blake,
I think at one point he was like 18 to 18. But he's suffering a shoulder injury. I don't even think he's going to suit up or play. I'm not a big Jerry Bohannon guy. He went out with a hamstring injury, and while that can heal quickly, I think it will affect him in some of his running game, and that's going to be one of his big angles. I think Ole Miss's run D has gotten better as the season went on, but it still ranks bottom half nationally. And that's where I think, Baylor's got a fantastic running game. We'll be able to attack that. But if you know the guy can't throw and you know he's limited in the pocket, that really goes to Ole Miss's strengths. And I just think, like you said, on the other side of the ball, you have a lot of motivation coming from, Matt Corral wanting to play this game, wanting to finish out in style, wanting to play with this team. Lane Kiffin will never let you down. That guy's going to have them motivated. And I think in this sense, I mean, he knows it's the last bowl game before Alabama, Georgia. He knows, and he's going to put this thing on display. He's going to want you to see it. And I think I like your pick in this one. I think I'm riding Ole Miss too. I like the Rebels. I think it's a good matchup. Like you said, the pass offense versus the pass defense is really where they need to exploit Baylor in this one.
Yeah, and even with, Bohannon playing, like how healthy is he, right? Injuries down the stretch, really struggling. So I don't know. I mean, I don't like the guy. I think I call him Gary all the time. Like, I don't even get his name right. that tells you what I think of Bohannon. But, to be fair to the listeners, I've been betting against Baylor all year and been losing. So, they were a team that I didn't believe in the entire year. I bet against them against Oklahoma. I bet against them, against Oklahoma State. Keep losing. So hopefully, new year, new result. I'm taking Ole Miss. I'm taking the Lane train. Choo-choo. Maybe it's a blind spot for me. Maybe Baylor's a blind spot I just can't get away from. But I'm going down with the ship. I'm going down with the Rebels today.
Yeah. John Trey checking in saying Kentucky, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Utah. So I got Oklahoma State. He's got Notre Dame. And I think we're about the same on most others. I guess from a confidence pick standpoint, my biggest lean is actually Arkansas. I think they just have the right mix set. I'd probably put them one. Utah, I'm not sure they're going outright, and most confidence pools want outright. So I'll put them last, and then I throw in Kentucky, then Ole Miss, then Oklahoma State in that order.
Yeah, I think Arkansas is the big one. That's the one I like the most, for sure. I like I said, I got Utah at 6.5, so it's a little bit different, right? If we're talking about, like, I'm very comfortable with Utah with that 6.5, but Arkansas definitely the big play. Kentucky, Iowa, not even betting hardly, a bet, but that's the one. If you're going to pound one, I say pound Arkansas. Go to the bank with that one. I'm probably going to be on Notre Dame, so we might be on different sides with the Oklahoma State one. But, best of luck to everybody today. Obviously, it's going to be a fun day. 5 games, on the docket. So can't wait to get into them. It's good to have one more full Saturday of college football before we get into the finals. And, we get a little LSU, Kansas State, I think, during the week. But, no big one there. But let's bring Lexi on now. Lexi licking her wounds from last night. Her Michigan Wolverines took it on the chops against the Georgia Bulldogs, but they had a tremendous year. But let's get her on and talk to her a little bit just about last night. And there she is. Hey, Lex, how you doing?
Hi. Sad, but I gotta be proud of my boys. It was a hell of a season, and just. Georgia was a better team. I mean, I'm going to say right now, I might have doubted them against Alabama, but they came out bigger, stronger, faster. They're a great team. I'll be cheering them on because I don't want to see Bama taking that back-to-back championship. But yeah, it was a long, sad night. But I can't, I can't be too upset about it because these guys weren't even supposed to be here. Coming off a 2-4 win season to 12-2, sitting on top of the Big Ten, beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten championship. It's like we're headed in the right direction. And that's all that I'm focusing on at this point to heal my wounds.
Yeah, definitely. And
I think that's the right way.
Yeah, it's a great point, Lexi, because, let's be honest, right? If the genie came out of the bottle over the summer and was like, hey, listen, you guys are going to be in the playoffs this year. You're going to beat the hell out of Ohio State in the biggest game of the year in the Big Ten championship. and then you're going to get beat up by Georgia, right? You're signing up. Like you're super happy with that season. So
I mean,
really
beating Ohio State alone would be enough for me every year. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it's it is really a hell of a ride for Michigan. I felt like, and their backs were against the wall, and I think that showed a lot.
Yeah, they got outplayed a little bit, but yeah. What was that?
Looking into the game, though, I mean, I guess when you see the coin flip go the way that you're kicking off them, I gotta think that's like right away. You're like, all right, that's what we want. Like we want our defense coming out here, stopping Georgia, and then here we go. And I think that's probably it's hard to say that what flips the game. But Mark and I talked about earlier. The first possession in both games just seemed to really set the tone that didn't allow the other team to really be able to adjust and they knew they were in trouble from the get-go. And that I was stunned. I was stunned it was that easy for Georgia to move the ball on that drive. And I think that's really where you knew this could be a long day.
Yeah. I mean, and just those, like, I kind of got glimpses, I'm not going to lie, a little bit of Don Brown's defense when we were just getting beat, on those long balls and a couple slants. And I'm like, but I will say there was a lot of good adjustments in the game, but Georgia was just the better team, so there wasn't too much that the coaches could do in that point. But yeah, just those couple deep balls and that great catch, and that first deep ball, it's like, oh man, like if they didn't catch that, they would have been fourth down. And there's so many things you could do the what ifs, but overall, I just got to say Georgia played lights out, and I hope they just win it all so I can say that my team lost to the national champ.
Yep.
At what point did you really start to lose confidence? Like, where you like, oh man, like I don't know if we can turn this thing around.
Oh God, I'm gonna be honest. The first quarter, as soon as we went down 14-0, that was really. I'm not gonna say that was it for me, but like at that point, I was like preparing myself for what eventually was gonna happen. Because I said from the get-go, either team goes down 2 touchdowns. It's going to be a problem for the team to come out. I mean, even Georgia, if we got 14, I'm not sure they would have been the team to fight back, because they just they aren't that kind of team either. So they came out, they dominated, needed to do what they needed to do, and next year.
Be back next year.
Yeah. Hey, and I will say it was really cool though, because a couple of the guys like JJ McCarthy, Blake Corum, Angela Anthony, all stood out there the entire time that Georgia got announced the championships and crowned and everything. So it's like they stood there, soak that all in, feel that hurt, realize that you want to be back here, that you want to be that. I liked that, and then just showing respect for Georgia in itself was a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, what year is Corum? Is Corum how young is he?
He is coming. He announced that he was coming back. I'm pretty sure he's going to be. I think he's going to be like the super senior, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, these guys get like 6, 7 years.
Well, and the COVID year, I can't even tell you anymore what anyone really is. COVID year.
Yeah, people are out there with gray hair. They're like, "Hey, man, I'm redshirt junior year."
Well, that was like that Bastardas. They call. I guess his nickname was Gramps, like offensive line. He's been here for like 6 years.
Oh, that's so funny. But hell of a season, man. Get to come back, Big Ten champs. And don't have to deal with the adversity that you've been dealing with, right? Everybody's comfortable now with Harbaugh, the coach. He got the monkey off his back. He gets to kind of attack next year from a recruiting standpoint a lot differently, right? You know what I mean? It's, when you look at, recruiting so important in college football, he gets to go out there and be like, hey, we're the Big Ten champs. Come to Michigan. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to do wonders for the program and everything going forward. But definitely a rough night. All around for Michigan last night. It was pretty, you could tell pretty early that things weren't going to go their way. I thought they did a good job of neutralizing Hutchinson, and defensively they were just kind of all over them.
That was what was impressive to me is like, Hutch and Ajabo just were taken out of the equation, and that alone was what left Stetson just do whatever he wanted to do at that point. So it was a great game plan. They really, really took Michigan's number and studied it and came out swinging. So yeah, still proud.
Always next year, man. Maybe. Yeah, maybe, and plus maybe it'll be more playoff game. Maybe you'll get a playoff game in there. Who knows how many teams they're going to have in the mix.
Let's hope it's expanded next year.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like maybe it's and it's in the mix, and you get a couple playoff games. And how are they talking about doing that? Are they going to give the Are you going to get home field in the playoffs, or are they going to do it all neutral site?
I don't
They haven't
know.
figured that out yet?
I think it's all still
They'll
kind
just
of
take
up in
these-
the air.
I thought
You
they're
think
taking
they'll
these
just
New York
redo the
Six-
bowls?
Well, I think
Yeah.
they take these games that are today and turn them into playoff games, like the Peach Bowl and they'll just turn some of those into.
They'll just repurpose them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
they
don't
have
think
to.
they'll ever give home field unless we get
Yeah.
out to 8 or 12. Then you might talk home field, but yeah.
Right. Yeah, if you get that big. Yeah, who knows? But hopefully they do expand it. I mean, that's the point is I just want to see these teams with their best players playing. Like these opt-outs are kind of crazy, and it was kind of magnified with COVID and all that this year. But definitely good stuff. Hell of a season. We're going to be back next week, talking about the finals, Alabama, Georgia. So can't wait for that. That's going to be a big one. So that game is on Monday night, right? Next Monday.
It is.
Yep.
They do it on the Monday night. All right. Yep. So we'll be back Saturday morning, same time, breaking it all down, giving you our bets there. So we appreciate everybody hanging with us. If you haven't now, join the Discord. Link is in the description. Hop in there, sweat out these games with us. Going to be plenty of action today and moving forward, for college football. So thanks for hanging with us. Let's start 2022 like we finished 2021 with some winners. So appreciate you guys hanging in there, and we'll see you guys next week for the college football finals.